Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Clayton Fioriti here with another Dragoncurve video, this time talking about the news that Hayden Christensen has been confirmed to return as Darth Vader in the new Disney Plus series for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this is something that a lot of people were speculating on, and admittedly, I didn't really think it would ever be a possibility, and I'll get into why later, but right now, I think this is an extremely good move by Disney because without The Mandalorian and really all of these more fan-centric moves that they're currently making, I don't know if Star Wars could have gone on to be profitable within the new decade. But to get into things and explain why I feel that way, I guess we should go over the news in full. So on the official Star Wars Twitter and I guess Instagram accounts, they made it clear that Hayden Christensen will return as Darth Vader, joining Ewan McGregor in Obi-Wan Kenobi. The original series begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith. Now, Kathleen Kennedy has gone on record to say that the series will begin filming in 2021, and by the way, it's going to be directed by Deborah Chow, who is one of the prominent directors in Season 1 for The Mandalorian. Kennedy has also gone on record to say that something like this is going to be a rematch that a lot of people are going to wait and see, or something of that nature, and that's actually very shocking to me because ever since I was a kid, I always assumed that the last time Obi Wan and Anakin fought each other was on Mustafar, where he chopped off his legs and other arm and left him for dead on the volcano planet. There's that little line in A New Hope where Darth Vader says, "I sense something, a presence I haven't felt since," and then he walks away from the Millennium Falcon and everything that's going on in the Death Star. So if we do go into some sort of rematch between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader 10 years after he left him for dead, I feel like that could diminish the impact of their battle in Episode 4, but I also think it's a really cool move that could prove to be extremely fun in this series. Deborah Chow is an extremely good director. I'm sure Jon Favreau and definitely Dave Filoni have some sort of involvement in this series. Ewan McGregor was always good as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels, and I kind of think that the news that Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader is equally good for a lot of people as well. I don't really know how much of Hayden we're going to be seeing in this show, though. You know, Darth Vader usually has that helmet on, and James Earl Jones just kind of does his thing in the voiceover booth while David Prowse would walk around in the outfit. Now, obviously, I guess Hayden Christensen is going to be in the outfit, but is everything he says going to be dubbed over by James Earl Jones? And if that's true, I feel like there wouldn't really be a need or reason to have Hayden back, so maybe we will get to see him without the mask and actually with his own voice coming out to the audience at some select points in the series. I can imagine them spending a lot of time featuring Hayden in that tank that we saw in Rogue One, where Darth Vader is just kind of sulking there and healing from his wounds. Maybe we have some sort of, I don't know, voiceover by Hayden Christensen where we're in Darth Vader's head going over the events of the prequels, or something that we're seeing now recently in this current timeline. Luke Skywalker would be 10 years old, and I don't know if we're going to incorporate Princess Leia in any of this, but this whole idea of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine and just watching over Luke, a series playing into that, basically when he is Ben Kenobi, not really even Obi-Wan anymore, that sounds all really, really cool to me. Hayden Christensen coming back I think is a really smart move, but I don't know how they're going to implement him, and it kind of makes me feel like maybe some people shouldn't be getting their hopes up, but who knows, they could be doing something really, really important here with that actor. Of course, you have some people who are going to be, you know, kicking rocks and upset at the fact that Hayden Christensen's coming back because the prequel movies got a lot of hate damn near 20 years ago. Well, really, all the way up until The Force Awakens and even after that. But, you know, Hayden Christensen and everything around the prequels, other stuff like Jar Jar Binks and every actor's dialogue and how they performed and the green screen. You've heard all these complaints like over the last 2 decades. Personally, it looks to me like a lot of that has softened with Disney's sequel trilogy being something that some fans find to be even more egregious, or there are other fans that never thought the prequels were egregious. So you just have this kind of weird transitional phase where you're still looking at Disney Star Wars, but now they're kind of catering to prequel fans, when originally, if you go back to 2015, when like the remake to Battlefront came out, and there was like, it was very obvious there was no prequel material in there whatsoever. They did that on purpose. I mean, it looks like Disney is really just ebbing and flowing with the market, more or less. If they see people want something, they're just gonna throw it in their movie, which can be a bad thing sometimes, but other times it can be a good thing. In this particular situation, I do think it's a really good thing. You know, Hayden Christensen has caught some flack for some of the stuff that he did in Attack of the Clones. Personally, I think the greatest scene in Attack of the Clones is actually the moment where he enters the Tusken Raider tent and talks with his mother right before she dies. That to me is one of the most powerful moments in the prequels. Now, of course, there were other times where sometimes the stuff Hayden Christensen was saying as Anakin was a little odd, but this is something that even Mark Hamill and Alec Guinness have talked about ever since the original Star Wars movie, and that's that some of the dialogue that George Lucas would give these characters, I mean, it is a galaxy far, far away. It's very different, but it's also very bizarre, and sometimes it doesn't translate to every single individual person. Personally, I think a lot of the critiques that people made on the prequels weren't always spot on. I grew up loving them. I am of that generation. And then by the time The Force Awakens came out, I was very critical of them, particularly episode 1 and 2. And that was from watching a lot of these, reviews on YouTube. Chris Stuckman did a lot of reviews where he trashed episode 1 and 2, and there were a few other people that did the same thing as well. And it's their opinions. It's their right to say whatever they want. Obviously, Red Letter Media's famous Phantom Menace, documentary or whatever you want to call that thing, was popular at the time. Personally, I've gone back to watch those movies since, and you can definitely tell the dip in quality between the prequels from the OT, but I do think that a lot of things were kind of overblown, and I say that because Hayden Christensen in Revenge of the Sith is extremely good in my opinion. I would go as far to say that I personally think Revenge of the Sith is better than Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, I rewatched episodes 4, 5, 6, 1, and 2. I had to stop it too. I was getting really bored. I didn't even feel like rewatching Revenge of the Sith because I know it's a good movie. But Revenge of the Sith to me is just one of those films that completely encapsulates what really good Star Wars is, especially towards the end, where you have that really good dialogue, all that stuff at the end, like, "You have done that to yourself. If you're not with me, you're my enemy. Only a Sith deals in absolute. I will do what I must." That's all fun. It's so memeable. It's so it's entertaining as hell. I equate that to the fans of the Lost World Jurassic Park. Of course, you guys know I do Jurassic Park videos on the main channel, or, something like Jurassic Park 3 or Fallen Kingdom. Some of the movies that they got flack when they came out, but they have their fans. They have a lot of people they have people coming out all the time saying "Oh, 4 million is a slow Tuesday where I'm from," or "This will be the perfect centerpiece for my necklace. This is a game trail, Mr. Ludlow." There's so much stuff that you could go on and quote. What does Cooper say? How do you know through our church? I don't know why. There's a whole community around Cooper memes. You would be just shocked. Anyways, Hayden Christensen's really good in Revenge of the Sith. There's a lot of fans of Revenge of the Sith, and I think that's because it's a good movie. He gives a really good performance, and I think that bringing him back as Darth Vader, as evil Anakin, as the Anakin you see that is yellow-eyed, just desperate and screwed up at the end of that movie, that is really exciting to imagine ObiWan Kenobi looking in and just having to confront years after the events of that film. Now, I wonder also, if they're bringing back Hayden Christensen, wouldn't they want to bring back Liam Neeson as Qui Gon Jinn? I always thought Qui Gon Jinn would have been perfect in an Obi-Wan series, because Yoda told Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith, "Teach you to commune with him, I will." And that's just such a missed opportunity if they don't get him in this series. Particularly, could you imagine what Qui-Gon Jinn's ghost would have to say with Anakin Skywalker now that he's become what he's become? And the 10 years past Revenge of the Sith, that would be a very interesting conversation. And I mean, we know that Anakin learned the ways to become a Force ghost somewhere down the line, so this show can go in a lot of different directions, but for this video, I wanted to focus in on the Hayden Christensen aspect. We don't really know how many episodes he's going to be in or how big of a threat he's going to be, but I would assume he'd be the biggest threat. There comes the other concern I have, because he's Darth Vader. If Darth Vader goes to Tatooine and his son is on Tatooine, granted he doesn't know Luke is his son yet, but he knows he's supposed to kill Obi-Wan, so doesn't that seem a little close for comfort as far as canon goes. Like, that's something where I think they're really pushing the limits of what is acceptable in the realm of disbelief, suspension of disbelief. There are times when you can break that very, very easily, and this could be one of them. I'd imagine if Darth Vader is boots on the ground on Tatooine fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi, that would make zero sense. I don't think I would ever, like, it would be cool to watch, but in the back of my mind I'd be going like, this is the dumbest shit I think I've ever seen. Grant, I gotta wait to see it, but like, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. You can only push reality so far in an established canon before it starts feeling like, wait, why are you doing this? You know that these characters understand how stupid the things that's happening right here would be in the other episodes. So I guess that's my biggest concern for this whole situation. Now, as for what they do with Hayden Christensen in the show, I have no idea. I don't think anybody really knows. He's going to be Darth Vader. I definitely think we're going to hear his voice on more than one occasion. It wouldn't shock me if we even got Natalie Portman back for some visions or something where he's, having memories of her. That's the whole reason he became Darth Vader after all. But one other question that I don't see anybody asking is if this is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and they've got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, wouldn't they also have to cast like a 10-year-old Luke? And if they do, I doubt he'd be in the series a lot, but could there be some sort of power struggle between Obi-Wan trying to make sure that Vader, never finds Luke? Or I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. This is cool news, though. I'm very happy to see Hayden Christensen return. I just wonder what they're going to do with this, because Deborah Chow, incredible filmmaker, Dave Filoni, and what they're doing currently with these TV series, The Mandalorian, I think is the best Star Wars Disney ever made. I really do. But what they do in the future, who knows? So anyways, guys, those are all just my thoughts and opinions and curious thinkings on Hayden Christensen returning in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Now, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, please tell me them in the comments down below. I'd really like to know what you all think and how you think this is going to go down in the future.